Does that mean good luck, something like that, right? Oh, good time.
Welcome to the Tibet Center. 151 West
30th Street.
30th Street, third floor. Okay, we'll begin by reciting the prayer for the spreading of the teaching throughout the length and breadth of the West, which you'll find in the FAQ section if you scroll down on the Tibet Center website. By the force of the blessings of the non-fallacious three precious gems, and with the truth of our pure selfless wishes, may the precious Buddhist teachings flourish and spread to the expansible areas throughout the length and breadth of the West. For all the people living there, together with their near ones, who have engaged in the teachings and have faith and respect for them, may all conditions adverse to their practice of the pure Dharma be dispelled, and an excellent collection of favorable conditions increase like the waxing moon. And especially for those who work on methods to accomplish the flourishing and spreading of the victorious one's teachings, which are the source of all benefit and happiness, may they never be impressed by masses of interference and adverse conditions, and may this spontaneously happen just as we have hoped and wished. That sutra. Thus have I heard once, the Blessed One was dwelling in the royal domain of the Vilshofu, together with a big gathering of great monks and great bodhisattvas. At that time, the Blessed One entered the Samadhi, which examines Dharma's toward profound illumination, and at the same time, noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, looking at the profound practice of transcendent knowledge, saw the five skandhas in their natural emptiness. Then, through the inspiration of the Buddha, Venerable Shariputra said to Avalokiteshvara, how should those noble ones learn who wish to follow the profound practice of transcendent knowledge? And Avalokiteshvara answered, Venerable Shariputra, whoever wishes to follow the profound practice of transcendent knowledge should look at it like this. Seeing the five skandhas in their natural emptiness. Form is empty, emptiness itself is form. Emptiness is not separate from form, form is not separate from emptiness. In the same way, feeling, discriminating awareness, compositional factors, and consciousness are empty. Thus, all dharmas are empty and have no characteristics. They are unborn and unceasing. They are not impure or pure. They neither decrease nor increase. Therefore, since there is emptiness, there is no form, no feeling, no discriminating awareness, no compositional factors, no consciousness, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no appearance, no sound, no smell, no taste, no sensation, no objects of mind, no quality of sight, no quality of hearing, no quality of smelling, no quality of tasting, no quality of sensing, no quality of thought, no quality of mind and consciousness. There are no nidanas from ignorance to old age and death, nor their wearing out. There is no suffering, no cause of suffering, no ending of suffering, and no path, no wisdom, no attainment, no non-attainment. Therefore, since there is no attainment, the Bodhisattvas abide by means of transcendent knowledge. And since there is no obscurity of mind, they have no fear. They transcend falsity and pass beyond the bounds of sorrow. All the Buddhas who dwell in the past, present, and future, by means of transcendent knowledge, fully and clearly awaken to unsurpassed, true, complete enlightenment. Therefore, the mantra of transcendent knowledge, the mantra of deep insight, the unsurpassed mantra, the unequal mantra, the mantra which calms all suffering, should be known as truth. For there is no deception. In transcendent knowledge, the mantra is proclaimed. Tavyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhisattva. This is how a Bodhisattva Mahasattva should learn profound transcendent knowledge. Then the Blessed One arose from that Samadhi and praised the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Avalokiteshvara, saying, Good, good, O son of noble family, profound transcendent knowledge should be practiced just as you have taught, and the Tathagatas will rejoice. When the Blessed One had said this, Shariputra and Avalokiteshvara, that whole gathering, and the world with its gods, humans, asuras, and gandharvas, their hearts full of joy, praised the words of the Blessed One. Now we generate bodhicitta. With the wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind intent on full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. As long as space endures, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. With the wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind intent on full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. As long as space endures, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. With the wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind intent on full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. As long as space endures, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. So we've been reciting a mantra just to still our minds. And so let's do let us all together recite one rosary of Om Mani Padme Hum. And since you all have this, look at this, think of these 3 verses, because they're truly inspiring, and they should be the essence of what motivates us to recite Om Mani Padme Hum, and the qualities that Om Mani Padme Hum then generate within us. So recite Om Mani Padme Hum and think about these 3 verses as you do so. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme. Om Mani Padme Hum. So as we see these 3 verses, Om Mani Padme Hum is the mantra of compassion. Compassion is the wish to remove the suffering of others. It is that wish to remove the suffering of others that would inspire us to, it begins with With the wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. And so it is with that wish to remove the suffering of others. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind intent on full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. So here, this verse is the sort of essential verse for the generation of bodhicitta. It is out of an understanding of the need to attain enlightenment in order to benefit others that you take this vow. This is the vow. I generate the mind intent on full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. And then, as long as space endures, and as long as sentient beings remain, until then, may I too remain. Now, we're remaining out of this sense of compassion, out of this sense of wishing to remove the suffering of others, to dispel the miseries of the world. So, if you're reciting Om Mani Padme Hum, think of these three verses. If you're reciting Om Mani Padme Hum, think of the wish to remove the suffering of others. So we get together every week here in New York to discuss ethics for the new millennium, and to try together to cultivate some feeling of responsibility towards others. And the essence of that is compassion. We work towards developing a recognition of the way we should behave, the ethical ways in which we should act. We do so with the intention to benefit others and remove their suffering. So this quality of compassion, this sense of compassion is the essential, should be the essential element in what we're doing here. So last week here I was plugging the new film on His Holiness, The Wisdom of Happiness. And the wisdom of happiness is the wisdom to be wise about our pursuit of happiness, which is to act in some way to benefit others, to act in some way to diminish our sort of selfish tendencies and develop some kind of concern for others. So as you all know, His Holiness has made a great effort to figure out how to convey his message in a way that wouldn't be Buddhist, that would be would have a basic logical element to it that reflected its validity, free of any kind of dogma or any kind of belief structure that demanded anything more than simple logical recognition of its value. So that's what we're doing. We're together exploring, discussing, debating the ideas that he puts forward. And here, the last Monday was the 13th of October. We reached page 6. Yeah?
Yeah.
So His Holiness is talking about discovering the Western world and feeling that in our very developed society, we must have developed ways of dealing with suffering we must have diminished the, let's say, more blatant or straightforward or physical forms of hardship that were experienced in Tibet, where he had come from. And so he, in the middle of the page, at first this surprised me. What was surprising? The result is the troubled atmosphere, which is such a feature of the developed world. So this troubled atmosphere surprised him. At first it surprised him. Although I never imagined that material wealth alone could ever overcome suffering, looking at the developed world from Tibet, a country materially always very poor, I must admit that I thought wealth would have gone further towards reducing suffering than is actually the case. I expected that with physical hardship much reduced, as it is for the majority living in the industrially developed countries, happiness would be much easier to achieve than for those living under more severe conditions. Instead, the extraordinary advancements of science and technology seem to have achieved little more than numerical improvement. In many cases, progress has meant hardly anything more than a greater number of opulent houses in more cities with more cars driving between them. Certainly, there has been a reduction in some types of suffering, including especially certain illnesses, but it seems to me that there has been no overall reduction. So, what do you think of that?
It's very true. As I think about my own mind, I think a lot about how most of us have never had to fetch water or been on long hikes and very thirsty or in other circumstances and such, and how it's so easy for us to take for granted the faucet that runs with clean water. That if we could talk to our ancestors, they'd be like overjoyed. You don't have to fetch the water you need, it's just here. And there are places in the world that still have, obviously don't have running water, so they might have a deeper appreciation, but I, myself included, I wasted water. I know people who, my generation, who like, they think nothing of it. It has zero value to them, and that in relation to what His Holiness is saying there is like a big luxury for your survival, and yet the value is not seen.
However, even with running water, he's saying, it seems to me that there's been no overall reduction in the suffering experienced in our modern society.
Right? We take it for granted.
There's a reduction in physical problems. You don't have to fetch water, so but mental problems have not been taken care of.
Mental suffering is the
Yeah,
same.
the physical suffering is less. You're not carrying
Well, he's even suggesting that the mental suffering may actually increase as a result of
More
Get
free
frustrated,
time.
the water's not hot.
more free time.
Yeah, it seems that often when like technology increases or things get more readily available, we have less to do with our time. And like if I can order my food to my doorstep and I can have my groceries come to me and I don't have to fetch anything for myself, then what am I spending my time doing? And often it's like, I think a lot of the workforce becomes, I spend my time increasing the technology more. Like that's what we spend our time doing often, is still kind of trying to push forward and evolve as much as possible. And it seems like it leaves us with idle hands, and so our minds suffer more in a way.
Were you in New Jersey for our discussion on Amazon Prime?
No,
No.
I'm sure that was a very interesting discussion. Yeah, that's a good example.
It's a very interesting example. I've recently gotten sucked into it, and it's really interesting to watch the mind become accustomed to the ability to just
Yeah,
order stuff.
yeah, it's true.
It's scary because I must admit that I sort of feel that my store of virtuous karma diminishes every time.
You burn up some more.
That's harsh. That's harsh.
But I don't buy cameras.
No, I think that the whole idea of Amazon Prime is that you never are wanting. That
That's, yeah.
your wants are immediately. Now that's a very interesting dynamic because, you know, we all have wants, we all
Yeah.
have needs, and this is like what happens when you bring those wants and needs down to the point where they are immediately satisfied. So what happens?
You get more wanting. You want more and more. It doesn't satisfy you.
It's like your
Craving
stamina.
increases craving.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, I'm not sure that
I think
that's.
so.
I mean, that's our rote answer. But I think there's something else that happens, which is that we suddenly are aware that we are not satisfied, and that things don't satisfy us, and that we're left sort of empty. That's the feeling I had. Is I had yogurt.
Depends on what you buy. My latest purchase was an iron board cover. It's pretty prosaic. You
Well, we
know,
don't have $5 stores anymore.
they don't have, you
No,
can't get
once
it anywhere
upon a
else.
time, you could buy it at a
I think they
$5
call
store.
notions.
Yeah, notions, you know, exactly.
I feel like the reason we don't have those stores anymore though is because we have Amazon Prime.
That's right. No, literally, yeah. They drive people out of business.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but there was not enough margin in this involved selling that type of notion, product. And then people are no longer making their own clothes with the ribbon that they buy at the $5 store. And so on, it's changed.
So I'd like to say that there is nothing wrong with Amazon Prime. I find it, I'm just saying this in the camera, I find it extraordinary. I find it truly amazing. I'm watching myself, no, 5-star, I give it.
Oh,
I'm watching myself, and what's interesting is to see how we act with this access to immediate gratification. Immediate.
they even say people who bought this also bought that, so you should start
Oh, they-
scrolling.
yeah.
And they, you know, they draw you in.
That's-
And
They,
they know what
they
they're doing.
widen the scope
They
of
certainly
desire.
do.
I think it's meritorious to recognize that it's not satisfying. And I think many people don't recognize that and keep ordering.
That's right.
My building, there's this table, and it seems like that table is piling up more and more, and you see the same names there.
What's on the table? Oh, it's the table.
The delivery
It's-
items.
The people are returning what they don't want, they're sharing it with people on the table. The table is like the underneath the Christmas tree for
Yes.
the rest of the house after they
And then
use
the
what
guy
they...
does nothing but, like the package guy, in his big,
Yeah, but
why doesn't want to be the doorman? It's so voluminous.
But as you point out, there's no place to buy a lot of these products.
Some of them, yes, but
Well, there is.
But
You've been sent here by Amazon, have you?
I'm entrepreneur.
this is
it
based on.
also increases suffering though, because as soon as your package is late and it's not instant, when you go, at least I know myself and many people, where's my package? Did someone steal it? Now I'm upset. I'm upset at the driver. I needed this thing
Well,
at
the
3
answer is
p.m.
yes, it got stolen.
The mind
Actually.
gets creative. Starts all the possibilities that come.
But also, I think we should keep in mind the ethics of Amazon as a company, and what is the cost to everyday workers
Oh.
getting these packages to us like this? What is the intention of Amazon as a public entity. It's not, it's for profit.
Some problem. Corporation. Hospitals that we
And
know
the
too.
effect on the environment too, like, think that you can buy something and then return it, anything, all the time. It's like twice the amount of emissions for everything that you get.
Yeah.
Well, it's not necessarily.
How
If
is
you,
it not?
no, if you want to return a few things,
But everybody,
you
I
get a
mean,
little,
everyone
yeah,
I
but you
know,
get a little flack from Amazon, they won't necessarily give you a free return.
everyone I know is often buying more things because they know they can return them very easily.
Well,
I feel like it's,
I don't know about the returning. How do you
yeah,
return?
okay,
You can go to Whole Foods, they have a
now, you
return
can go to
counter.
Whole Foods or you can go
that's,
to.
but you
UPS
have to have a
or FedEx.
label. You
What?
have to get the authorized label from the, oh, no.
You can go to a Whole Foods, or you can go to UPS or FedEx or
Depends on your
whatever.
item.
And you're
It
able to
depends on
print
your
up a
item.
label and send it right back.
That's
So they
right,
didn't
and there's a
have to-
window for return.
So I must admit, I presented this in a sort of simple way, and I can see that we're dealing with great experts here.
Well, like she said, no place to buy. Look, in the pandemic, that was the only thing that held everything up, because a lot of the stores closed.
Yeah,
When you had to get online, just go to the supermarket and wait,
yeah. Or to buy cough medicine or things like that, yeah.
They're good with medicine, they're very quick. Amazon. And that's-
That's good too.
I go to Chewy.
Cheaper.
Now you're getting everything.
Well, as I say, it's an opportunity to watch online comments. The paradox of modern capitalism is that the same grasping that drives some material progress also generates conflict, exploitation, and unhappiness. Matt Casey. Yes. So, yes, it's a wonderful opportunity to really watch the mind. We talk about attachment, we talk about how attachment grows. It's like sort of drinking salty water. But Amazon Prime introduces us to a whole level of the process. And truly, as Mark said, if we really watch ourselves, if we really are aware of this, we can learn so much about ourselves and these tendencies. And it is important to remember that it is not inherently bad. On the contrary, it is neutral and it can serve wonderful purposes. But we should watch our minds as we're doing this.
Makes it good or bad. Funny, because there's no salesman pushing you, you do it all yourself. You're considering this, and then you dance around and you buy it.
Nikki, if it feels like you know that a company doesn't feel like an ethical company, which there are bajillions of, right? I feel like, does that not make it inherently bad in any way?
No, the word inherent means that if it is bad for a reason, it is not inherently bad. It's bad for that reason.
Dependency.
Yeah.
Can you say that again?
If it's bad for a reason, Margaret just mentioned a reason for which something was bad. If it's bad for a reason, then it's not inherently bad. It's bad caused by that reason.
So if it's inherent, there's no reason for it to be bad. It's just
Yeah.
bad.
It would be naturally bad. Nothing is naturally anything. Correct? He debates. You have to be very careful.
Really is a debate, Assume.
Yeah, where were we? We got lost here a little bit.
We're ordering things.
Yeah, I'm just on
But does
Amazon.
that, do you buy that, Margaret? What you just said,
I think that
so to speak?
it seems as though we, the people, have created Amazon anyway. Like, I know that any participation of humanity is what makes it so that Amazon is thriving. And so that's why it's here.
Yeah.
I feel that like the effect that that has on the environment and on our, psyche, etc., is bad. It's not good. I don't think that it is. And so it's hard for me to say like, Amazon isn't bad. That one's tough for me.
Is it inherently bad?
I understand.
We've already decided it's not inherently.
It's not inherently bad.
It's not easy, inherent.
I understand the concept of it can't be inherent. I get it. It's hard for me to think though that, Amazon, it's not bad or good, it's just Amazon. But to me, it's not good. So what is it? It's bad for reasons, and those reasons are bad?
Yes.
Right.
I think it's lulling us into other. It's lulling us into like a convenience of we give up other things for convenience.
So the whole notion of our modern, very efficient society somehow being a challenge to our peace of mind, we're getting there. But again, in respect to that, I don't know how you all feel, but I'm not sure that we can consider modern efficiency to be bad. Modern efficiency is efficient. It may go so fast that we don't have the ability to digest it, or and then we have to learn how to breathe. We have to learn, there's an exercise.
Sure, that's
I've been suggesting to Darren that I read someplace that if you do this, it slows the heart down.
How many times?
The more you do it, the more it slows the heart down. So,
On this topic, I found an exercise within myself sometimes, not exercise. It's just like, trying to force myself, like, can I wait for anything? And the uncomfortability sometimes that arises from just maybe like having to wait after becoming so accustomed to this instant thing might be helping, because I can also remember a time before all this, before Amazon. And you fill things through the catalog quite quick, but there was some waiting involved that's not present even for information now with your phone, laptop. So sometimes I try to think about challenging to kind of wait. And some days I'm better than others, but other things, I just think it's very interesting, as you're saying, to watch your mind as you engage this exercise of that quick, instant order as well. It's like, can I actually wait? When I can actually make the move now, can I wait?
Well,
It's a skill that's lost.
Yeah, it seems understanding the implications of not waiting, that effect that has on other things. If I don't wait and I order something that comes tomorrow, but that has other implications and possibly bad effects on other things, rather than waiting, it makes me think, I'll just wait.
So,
Think,
what do you? I don't understand the bad effects.
if I get something that comes in the morning tomorrow, and that means that I kind of, in some ways, lose my stamina for patience first. It becomes a habit. I want it more faster all the time. But also, the amount of time that it takes, the less amount of time, I feel like also has an implication on the earth too. The emissions that it takes for it to get there. And also, often the quality of the product, I feel like, usually diminishes too. The faster I can get it, maybe the cheaper that it is, or the more kind of flash in the pan that thing is. So if I wait, if I just say, I'm going to wait for this instead, and maybe I'll spend a little bit more money for it to come to me a little slower. I feel like I think about those things a lot, certainly. I start to understand the chain reaction, the effects that it has if I don't wait. I feel often when I wait, it's actually better. I feel better.
Impulse control,
So,
being mentally, not with the
I'm
down.
becoming more obsolete, essentially, in everything I do.
So I really think that in this exercise of examining ourselves, I think that it's important to maintain responsibility for the problem. In other words, it is our behavior that is problematic. It's not the Prime aspect of Amazon. It's not, signing up for Prime. it's me. And so I think that whether you are signed up for Prime or not, use this as just to watch yourselves. I really, the quality of the product, does it diminish due to the fact that it comes to me quickly? I don't know. Yes, it diminishes due to the fact that things cost so much less than they used to. I mean, the price of things, I'm not saying that, today the price of eggs and the price of milk and all that have gone up. But if you look at the price of, people are able to own so much more than they were 50 years ago. Yeah.
They've come down.
Everyone needs everything. And the prices have come to a point where people can actually possess these things. Not only here, I see it in India, I see it in rural India. When
There's Amazon in India, right?
yeah. You were saying that during COVID, there was no other way to get things. During COVID, in the Tibetan settlement, the Amazon delivery people were not allowed in. So you could not get Amazon delivery. You couldn't get anything.
Pasta, you couldn't get.
Sorry? No gorgonzola. Gorgonzola is very hard to get in India. View this as simply as an exercise, and whether it's patience with when the delivery guy is going to come up and see that you're looking out the window to see. And see that the problem is not that, it's this impatience that is within yourself. And I really think that we have to acknowledge that this form of practical delivery, whatever, it's here. It's only going to get more efficient. And so the more we can watch our minds in this process, and the more we can develop not total control over it, but over the way we behave with it in order to remain calm, the happier we will be. That's the only thing I have to say on that.
Do you think it's harder to practice as material comfort increases?
Yes, I think that, all right, this is an interesting sort of place for this conversation to go. An interest in a spiritual practice in our society, in our 21st century society has diminished tremendously. I think that the things that we're talking about, the accessibility of objects of desire, has diminished people's awareness of these spiritual practices that they can engage in. I think that I think that's sort of where we are today, and that's why I have on a few occasions said I find it rather extraordinary that we all get together and discuss these matters. Really struggle with and try to figure out how we can live in ways that attend to or acknowledge the challenges that we experience. When I ask my friends who have children what their children do today as they face existential problems, they all tell me that they go to the shrink and they take medicines that calm them down and that diminish anxiety and what else do these pills do? We all, I think that a little bit of, what is it called, chemical balancing can be very helpful. But I think that the spiritual practices of, let's say, working at developing contentment with what we have and really exercising the mind to develop that contentment and to face the challenges of being sucked into this need for things and the impatience for their coming. That's something that is really leads us to a better place. Okay, enough. It's getting a little too dogmatic here. Okay, let's go back to saying this. I remember well an occasion on one of my early, this is interesting, that this is trips to the West. I was the guest of a very wealthy family who lived in a large, well-appointed house. Everyone was very charming and polite. There were servants to cater to one's every need, and I began to think that here, perhaps, was proof positive that wealth could be a source of happiness. My host definitely had an air of relaxed confidence, but when I saw in the bathroom through a cupboard door which was slightly open an array of tranquilizers and sleeping pills, I was reminded forcefully that there is often a big gap between outward appearance and inner reality. Well, thank you, Your Holiness. So, this paradox, whereby inner, or we could say psychological and emotional suffering, is so often found amid material wealth, is readily apparent throughout much of the West. Indeed, it is so pervasive that we might wonder whether there is something in Western culture which predisposes people living there to such kinds of suffering. So, His Holiness says this, I doubt. Having lived for most of my life in the East, it's as much a part of, it's not really a factor of East-West. It's more affluence that brings about the dissatisfaction, that brings about the depression and the psychological challenges that are being addressed by sleeping pills and other things. Please don't accept anything that I'm saying because I've said it. challenge. This is an open discussion. I'm sharing His Holiness's thoughts here. So many factors are involved. Clearly, material development itself has a role to play. But we can also cite the increasing urbanization of modern society, where high concentration of people live in close proximity to one another. In this context, consider that in place of our dependence on one another for support, today, whenever possible, we tend to rely on machines and services. Whereas formerly farmers would call in all their family members to help with the harvest, today they simply telephone a contractor. So I find this, the whole idea that one of the things that's happening as our world, let's take good old Amazon Prime. With Amazon Prime, we do not need to go out and shop and meet people and discuss. And the whole idea of a community where the farmer's market, I mean, Amazon Prime provides vegetables, yes?
Or Whole Foods, because they own Whole Foods.
Organic
You
vegetables.
dial food from Amazon, you get the whole food truck.
So you sit at home and you get your organic fennel, your organic artichokes, your organic whatever. And you're not going out there and, feeling them and deciding whether you want this or none of it, and talking to the person, do you think these are better or what, but finished, all alone. So that pursuit of total independence, that you are no longer dependent on other people. You are this little island, this little entity, free of any need to be bothered by others. That must wear on the mind in some way.
You always have those social elements.
And it's an illusion.
What?
Because what is the whole network of people that make that possible? In order to have that immediate gratification, we're entirely dependent on it, or we don't recognize it.
Yeah, at the farmer's market, I know the guy that grows my vegetables. I see him every week.
You don't have to anymore. You can just
No,
order
I don't care.
Amazon Prime.
That we source locally, so you can do all that.
Don't you select your
Yeah,
own tomatoes if you're gonna make a tomato sauce? Isn't that the way it's done?
No.
You got the ones you,
No, you want
Not
to
on Amazon Prime.
San Marzano.
that's so standard though.
Yeah,
That's the highest pinnacle.
That's because they're canned. You mean the canned Italian tomatoes?
Yes, with
Pilati.
PLT.
Yeah, well, that's true, if you want to spend.
Someone else peels them for you.
And well, only if you select peel when you
Yes.
buy it.
Well,
Coming up next.
Anyway, you can't use those tomatoes for everything.
I do. I bathe.
It seems important for humans to do those kinds of things together because it's a kind of socialization and appreciation.
It has to be.
Yeah, certainly.
That's why
Well,
that's not life.
and looking at the flip side, if you start reducing your relationship with others, out of that grows loneliness, frustration, anxiety. You become less and less satisfied. All those things come as aspects of that immediate.
Yeah.
It's creating an environment that fosters, as well as starting with less compassion, less ethics, because you're not engaging with others. So you won't feel a need to help others, feel for others, because as far as you know, the delivery truck is bringing tomatoes. So you might be maybe the driver, maybe one.
I've watched these drivers.
They leave.
They don't.
Yeah.
There's no interaction with them.
Yeah. But you might think of them, that's it. And if you're a really mindful, thoughtful person, not maybe not mindful, just thoughtful, you might say, okay, there was a farmer that grew it, and this person brought it to me. But that's more and more rare. It's like an environment that's just like more and more isolating. And then for the general mass, one couldn't expect that per se to engage in ethical, compassionate thought, because in their frame of the world, there is no others, or it's very small, which is a problem, because there's actually 8 billion people.
I think there is some interaction with Amazon. One time I ordered a carpet cleaner, and when it arrived, the driver jumped out of the trunk. He said, "Oh, you must be so excited to be receiving this package." I think they're trained to say that, you know? Just a vacuum cleaner.
Isn't that a Buddhist exercise when you're eating something that's pause? How many people are involved in bringing this to your plate and all that? That automatically puts you in thought of what's really going on. That's what's really going on.
And recognizing
Their
and
kindness.
developing some feeling of responsibility towards them, repaying that.
Yes, for their kindness.
We find modern living organized so that it demands the least possible direct dependence on others. The more or less universal ambition seems to be for everyone to own their own house, their own car, their own computer, and so on, in order to be as independent as possible. This is natural and understandable, and I think that's important. We have to recognize that this is natural and understandable. The increasing autonomy that people enjoy as a result of advances in science and technology has its good points. In fact, it is possible today to be far more independent of others than ever before. But with these developments, there has arisen a sense that my future is not dependent on my neighbor, but rather on my job, or at most my employer. This in turn encourages us to suppose that because others are not important for my happiness, their happiness is not important to me. Now that's a big moral challenge that we should really contemplate in this discussion. We're not just talking about whether or not we see the delivery man from Amazon. We're talking about the recognition of him and of our dependence on him and our mutual dependence on each other. The human relationship that we have, and who was saying that we think that the thing just arrives, but we're embarked. The amount of the huge amounts of people who work in the background to make that possible. Well, there is an opportunity to really think in a pure, selfless, compassionate way, and I'm repeating myself, but I think that we have to acknowledge that this is the way things are, and it's only going to get, I'm not going to say worse, it's going to get more effective in this direction. And so to really consider, to have this be the opportunity to consider how dependent we are on the extraordinary network of people who make that efficiency possible becomes the opportunity to really work on ourselves.
I think also, though, recognizing that instant gratification is not necessarily happiness is important. So, I mean, it's
I
very
think it
nice.
is actually. I think instant gratification is happiness. That's the definition, Mark,
That
of
is the
happiness.
definition.
The next one, we have in the conclusion.
Where are we?
We have, in my view, middle of 8.
We have, in my view, created a society in which people find it harder and harder to show one another basic affection. In place of the sense of community and belonging, which we find such a reassuring feature of less wealthy and generally rural societies, we find a higher degree of loneliness and alienation.
In the book, The Lonely Crowd, the first study of alienation, remember?
The Lonely
The
Crowd.
Lonely Crowd.
What was it, Gunther? What was the author's name?
No, I forgot his name. It was in the 50s. A big textbook in my
Yeah.
school. But
Yes, it was.
we're all together, but it's increasing loneliness. It's gone to the exponent level now. It's crazy.
Yes. I mean, it's interesting that in the 50s, this was being considered as,
Yeah, it's going, yeah.
in the 50s, you were a little 10-year-old, yeah?
I was in 55, I was 11. This is like early 60s. David Reisman, that's who it was, a sociologist, David, R-E-I-S. David Reisman.
That sounds right.
Yeah. That was a big buzzword around.
Is it related to urbanization?
You're right, that's correct.
The putting together a post-war, blah, blah, blah. But alienation was the thing everyone discussed, that all the shrinks are giving out pills for it. You know, God, anything. No.
So,
It's a big problem today.
and it's been a big problem always.
Yes.
I'm sure that 2,000 years ago there were
Somebody sitting in his cave all day long. Yeah.
they had delivery services to the caves.
We actually have Amazon women.
That's right. You go down the river, we'll be there in an hour.
So despite the fact that millions live in close proximity to one another, it seems that many people, especially among the old, have no one to talk to but their pets. Modern industrial society often strikes me as being like a huge self-propelled machine. Instead of human beings in charge, each individual is a tiny, insignificant component with no choice but to move when the machine moves. So I sort of feel that I'm going to reread this paragraph. We have, in my view, created a society in which people find it harder and harder to show one another basic affection. In place of the sense of community and belonging, which we find such a reassuring feature of less wealthy and generally rural societies, we find a high degree of loneliness and alienation. Despite the fact that millions live in close proximity to one another, it seems that many people, especially among the old, have no one to talk to but their pets. Modern industrial society often strikes me as being like a huge self-propelled machine. Instead of human beings in charge, each individual is a tiny, insignificant component with no choice but to move when the machine moves. Well, I don't know, how does one take that? How do we work on it? How do we think about that in a way that improves us? What's the analytical meditation that you would compose out of that.
First of all, it's the truth. So you're working from that premise that this is really a problem. It's not an imaginary one. You can't disprove this. The evidence is everywhere, so you would start with that. So what causes it? And he says lack of affection, lack of basic affection. You work on how affection am I? Do I show basic affection? Do I put on a nasty face when I don't have to and things like that? I would start that way with myself, since we always we have
And
to work on
imitation,
ourselves.
imitation.
Imitating is very good because then you feel the other's pain, right?
Compassionate imitation.
Compassionate, excellent.
The motivation with which we imitate is
The
important.
compassionate invitation website, let's get that domain on our property right away. No, it's about you. That's the main thing in all argument. We have the responsibility to change, like you always said, not the world, but first over here and change within. And that's where we would start. Is it necessary to change within? Someone's way of doing it. Should or shouldn't, you know?
So we are
Analyze
living
that.
within this society. We are living within a non-rural, modern society. And the more aware we are of the challenges that come with it, come with that efficiency, come with all the perks, the more we can think about that, the more we can maintain some kind of control over our situation. And but I think the thing that I feel that is most important is taking what Mark said, an awareness of the vast array of this network of people who contribute to the efficiency that we enjoy, and really develop. And this is something to think about, in the mornings, as a form of analytical meditation, to really develop that appreciation, to think of those individuals, and to develop that wish to repay, to provide something for them. That thought itself, I think, I don't know that we can do much more.
Right, because I think sometimes I find myself enjoying the conveniences of something, and at the same time, kind of saying this is bad. Like, enjoying the convenience of maybe getting a Lyft or Uber or something like that, and at the same time, being like, this is diminishing the quality.
But what's wrong with Uber?
No, I'm saying the technology evolving. I'm able to get an Uber because I am, but there's been, Uber is plagued with lots of controversies and bad things. Racism and devaluing of drivers and all kinds of horrible things. But at the same time, that convenience is giving me to be able to come here or to be able to come there.
And to save time.
And save time, sure.
So
But I
what
think
causes
sometimes
it?
I hit myself with both, the need to use it and then also saying, I'm so bad for using this in some way.
No, the problem is this, technology is a bad idea. Use a computer, find people home. It's the way humanity handles people, the lack of humanity
It's true.
in the rollout of the operation. That's the only way that changes when people change their minds.
I also
And
shared,
influence. What?
I would share this piece that our friend Simon had shared with me in regards to what Margaret just said, giving yourself some grace with living in this modern age because everything and everyone is somewhat compromised. And so not to be too hard on oneself for having to, you still have to eat, you still have to get around. And if anyone is on their high horse, Simon had shared with me, because somebody had somewhere, he said that to me. And he said, everybody's compromised. Did you not take a car to get here? Did you not use resources?
Yeah.
There's no escape from.
He used to say, this is samsara. You said this made that no one has clean hands, except the very few. And we've always said that over the years.
But I think also in the context of the machine, we're encountering human beings. So there is an Uber driver in that car that we can make an effort to connect with if they seem receptive. Or the service people that we see all the time. There's a human being right there. We don't have to just take from that.
That's the
Well, even if we don't,
feeling.
simply having a feeling of appreciation, recognition of what they've contributed, that
I would say I feel like New York is like the sharing of all this. Like we and even more so now after the pandemic in terms of connections, human connections. I mean, you can even say this thing about people like not going to the office anymore. So we don't have the office connection either, and people don't want to go to the office because they don't realize that that's actually important in a sense. I mean, there's many things you can say.
but recognizing the value of being among people, that recognition, I think, is, even if we spend, 3 days a week at home and 2 days a week, 2 days at...
It's supposed to be 4.
Yeah, it's supposed to be 4, yeah.
4 days at home?
No. So, we will stop here and we will recite the sutra. So, though this is a discussion in secular ethics, though we are trying to sort of see the validity, the logic in a virtuous, a more ethically responsible way of living that is free of any kind of religious dogma, we do recite these Buddhist prayers, and what has inspired me to be able to appreciate this secular ethics we're discussing is the training that I've received in Buddhist practice. And here we recite this prayer, which is the Sutra of the Recollection of the Noble Three Jewels, the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. I hope...
Buddhist dogma is an oxymoron.
Sorry?
Buddhist dogma is an oxymoron.
We're not going down that.
Who's the morals?
So the Buddha, the teacher, the Dharma, the teaching, and the eventual attainment that we can reach by implementing the practices, the training that the Buddha taught, and the Sangha, the community of evolved practitioners who help us along. So it is the teacher and his teaching and the community implementing those teachings that inspire us. And so we recollect the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha in this prayer. Is there anyone we've been asked to pray for?
Actually,
Patrick.
yes.
Please remember Patrick as you recite this. I prostrate to the Omniscient One. Thus the Buddha, Bhagavat, Tathagata, Arhat, Samyak Sambuddha, the learned and virtuous one, the Sugata, the knower of the world, the charioteer and tamer of beings, the unsurpassable one, the teacher of devas and humans is the Buddha Bhagavat. The Tathagata is in accord with all merit. He does not waste the roots of virtue. He is completely ornamented with all patience. He is the basis of the treasures of merit. He is adorned with the minor marks. He blossoms with the flowers of the major marks. His activity is timely and appropriate. Seeing him, he is without disharmony. He brings true joy to those who long with faith. His knowledge cannot be overpowered. His strength cannot be challenged. He is the teacher of all sentient beings. He is the father of bodhisattvas. He is the king of noble ones. He's the guide of those who journey to the city of Nirvana. He possesses immeasurable wisdom. He possesses inconceivable confidence. His speech is completely pure. His melody is pleasing. One never has enough of seeing him. His form is incomparable. He's not stained by the realm of desire. He's not stained by the realm of form. He's not affected by the formless realm. He's completely liberated from suffering. He's completely and utterly liberated from the skandhas. He is not possessed with dhatus. His ayatanas are controlled. He has completely cut the knots. He's completely liberated from extreme torment. He's liberated from craving. He has crossed over the river. He is perfected in all the wisdoms. He abides in the wisdom of the Buddha Bhagavats who arise in the past, present, and future. He does not abide in nirvana. He abides in the ultimate perfection. He dwells on the bhumi where he sees all sentient beings. All these are the perfect virtues of the greatness of the Buddha Bhagavat. The Holy Dharma is good in the beginning, good in the middle, and good in the end. Its meaning is excellent. Its words are excellent. It is uncorrupted. It is completely perfect and completely pure. It completely purifies. The Bhagavat teaches the Dharma well. It brings complete vision. It is free from sickness. It is always timely. It directs one further. Seeing it fulfills one's purpose. It brings discriminating insight for the wise. The Dharma which is taught by the Bhagavad is revealed properly in the Vinaya. It is renunciation. It causes one to arrive at perfect enlightenment. It is without contradiction. It is pity. It is trustworthy and puts an end to the journey. As for the Sangha of the great Yana, they enter completely. They enter insightfully. They enter straightforwardly. They enter harmoniously. They are worthy of veneration with joined palms. They are worthy of receiving prostration. They feel the glorious merit. They are completely capable of receiving all gifts. They are an object of generosity. They are a great object of complete generosity. The protector who possesses great kindness, the omniscient teacher, the basis of oceans of merit and virtue, I prostrate to the Tathagata. Pure cause of freedom from passion, virtuous liberating from lower realms. This alone is the supreme ultimate truth. I prostrate to the Dharma which is peace. Having been liberated, they show the path to liberation. They are fully dedicated to the disciplines. They are a holy field of merit and possess virtue. I prostrate to the Sangha. I prostrate to the Buddha the leader. I prostrate to the Dharma the protector. I prostrate to the Sangha the community. I prostrate respectfully and always to these three. The Buddha's virtues are inconceivable. The Dharma's virtues are inconceivable. The Sangha's virtues are inconceivable. Having faith in these inconceivables, therefore the virtues are inconceivable. May they be born in a completely pure realm. The 8 verses on training the mind. With the determination
to accomplish the highest welfare of all sentient beings, who surpass even a wish-granting jewel, I will learn to hold them supremely dear. Whenever I associate with others, I will learn to think of myself the lowest amongst all, and respecting all others to be supreme from the very depths of my heart. In all actions, I will learn to search into my mind, and as soon as the stirring emotion arises, endangering myself and others, I will firmly face and avert it. I will learn to cherish ill-natured beings, and those oppressed by strong misdeeds and sufferings, as if I found a precious treasure difficult to find. When others I jealously treat badly, with abuse, slander, and so on, I will learn to take all loss and offer victory to them. When the one whom I have benefited with great hope unreasonably hurts me very badly, I will learn to view that person as an excellent spiritual guide. In short, I will learn to offer to everyone without exception all help and happiness directly and indirectly, and respectfully take upon myself all harm and suffering of my others. I will learn to keep all these practices undefiled by the gains of vague worldly concerns, and by understanding all phenomena as like illusions, be released from bondage of attachment.
prayer for the swift return.
Exalted wisdom of all victors gathered in drop, so refuge manifest in the form of the one wearing saffron robes, who rules on to Guam, Dorje-chan. Please bear witness here today that our prayers may be fulfilled. We beseech the great torch of doctrine, accomplishing from long ago the vast ways of aspirational prayers, Lord of speech of habitual songs teachings, spreading them to the ends of the earth by means of explanation and practice. The holy commitment, I will invite all beings to be my guests in the unsurpassed great awakening. Yet, when with the holy activities of the form body that serves the welfare of others, is that worthy of supreme among beings of those abundance? Though impossible for you to solicit existence and to abandon your commitment to liberate all beings, we beseech you, Son of Nirvana, to swiftly return to the realm of Dharmakaya, brought forth by Lord Chitta, drawn by 7 steeds. Having reached the parliaments of scholarship, religious life, and goodness, please come swiftly as an unrivaled supreme emanation, full holder of the sage's teachings, and wishful and control. Return to the glory of those on the 10th day. Magnificent truth of the 3 precious jewels, Mahakala, Paramayama, Srimati Devi, and the ocean of power protectors, may spontaneously fulfill our wish, the swift blossoming of the reincarnation's fresh moonlight face. Thank you very much. Thank you. Very good.
So we have a class on Wednesday in South Orange, New Jersey. And then, not this Saturday, but next
I
Saturday.
think the following Saturday, I forgot the date, so.